Hey everyone, it's Millie.
It's Gabby.
And welcome back to another week of Change by Degrees. We have episode 101, and it's a binge episode, which means we talk about TV and movies.
Yep.
And I don't know, apparently I wasn't listening to Gabby earlier, so I don't know what show she's going to bring up.
Because she asked me,
I know.
what shows and movies are you going to bring up? And I answered, and then she was like, oh, wait, I wasn't listening.
And I proceeded not to listen. Don't ask me why. It just, something disconnected there in my brain.
So
nothing new.
I didn't repeat myself either. So
You didn't. So we're going to find out together what shows she'd be watching. I know what shows I'd be watching. The usual suspects. Nothing really surprising. And then we watch two things together. Well, one thing together.
Like together.
Together. And then one thing we
both
watched. But not together. But the idea for this episode was based around watching this show together and talking about it. So I guess
should we start with that?
I think we should get out of the way.
Okay. Because we just watched the finale of the season right before recording this.
Of Wheels of Time.
I think it's Wheel of Time.
Is it?
I don't know. I think it's Wheel. I don't know if it's Wheel or Wheels of Time, but it's on Amazon.
Which, considering, I think it was last season, and how we didn't appreciate it.
But we made a whole episode of that.
Just for that. That's not the case for this, and there's a whole series. The thought behind this was that I think I watch a little bit more not sci-fi, before she chomps my head off. Fantasy. I watch a little bit more fantasy.
Yeah, you probably watch more fantasy
Gabby,
than I do.
But we decided, since we don't watch it a whole lot, we would try to delve into the waters with this one. And let me just say,
besides The Witcher, we both.
And I'm gonna say, and I'm like, The Witcher is fantasy.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. Not that it's like I was still very much so confused because you just have no background, which I think is just gonna happen with these fantasy series.
With The Witcher?
Yeah, but still, like, I thought the characters in the storyline. Like, we didn't follow every storyline, but we followed a little bit more.
But season 2 is
attention.
Season 2 is way easier to follow.
That too, true. Maybe I'm keeping in mind that it's the second season. But if you compare the first season of The Witcher to Will, I'm like,
no clue what was going on.
Oh, in the first season of Witcher?
I mean, I knew loosely, but like if someone was like, explain
aside from Henry, wasn't the first season, at least in and of itself, more engaging?
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Even if like in all seriousness, even if Henry wasn't the like lead and it was some other guy, it still was. Even if you're confused, it was still more entertaining. I found entertaining in general than like what. And I think
the problem, now that I'm thinking about it, not to jump right into it, basically Prime, I don't know, messed up the bag once again.
I'm dead.
I have, and I've seen Prime series that I've liked, but the ones that we choose to like talk about on this show are just so bad. I don't know why. Apparently, they got renewed for a second season to come in November. Yeah. It was. But if I'm gonna compare, when we started it, we thought we were gonna be obsessed because it's like this group of friends that all got selected that they could be what they call the one in this world.
The dragon.
The Dragon Reborn.
Which already, sure.
And Gabby loves the woman's superpowers. And the thing is, when people talk about this series before you watch it, I had a very different idea in my head, which is bound to happen as to what it is, and it ended up being very different. So the fact I didn't really get, at least in the first season, that the women were like more powerful. Like, yes, but not in the way I was expecting.
I didn't really have any expectations for this per se. I just was like, I just knew, I don't remember how it came up, but I just knew the lead. Like, I knew the actress, Rosamund Pike. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, she's cool. She was in Pride and Prejudice. She was in Gone Girl. Or no, Girl on the Train. I don't remember which one. She was on one of those. I think Gone Girl. And she's a really good actress. And I didn't realize, but when we were watching the credits last night, one of the times that we like kind of, you skipped through, she's also a producer on Wheel of Time.
Which I think happens with the main leads. But what I was going to say is that, I mean, we got excited because you have this group of friends and you're going to go on an adventure with them.
It's like my favorite trope. Is when like a group of friends.
And that's what
like,
you said. I'm like, they could do a lot with this.
That's so fun.
And so the first, I would say 3 episodes, we were pretty into it, even though we were confused. But then as the series went on, I don't know if it's that they introduced too many things at once that were just confusing or didn't go together. And also, in comparison to The Witcher, even if you have a group of friends, at least The Witcher, you have a main character that you follow, and that kind of helps like anchor the storyline and where you're going and how everything relates back to a main point or idea. But with this, I really didn't get that. So I was completely lost as to.
Well, I think it's because you have
we have nicknames too for these characters, but
I think it's because you have 5 quote unquote main characters,
and that's a lot to manage.
That's a lot to. I'm trying to think of an okay.
But
Stranger Things. There's like what 5 of them. There's one. There's
yeah,
one,
but
two,
even
3.
then, I would still argue there's like between 11 and
the other kid.
Yeah, the other kid.
Yeah,
I would argue those are more the main characters than anybody else. Like you have side characters and they're really important and you get their stories,
but they're all friends. So it's like
yeah, but I'm saying in Wheel of Time.
Yeah,
if Rand, we call him Redhead, was the main character, what I didn't get that.
But I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there was supposed to be a main. But then it kind of
gets lost a little bit.
I think what I'm saying is it doesn't have to because other shows do it well. Like Stranger Things, even though 11, they were friends before 11 came on the scene. But then when the show starts and they meet 11 and blah, 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 she kind of becomes like the center a little bit. But it still focuses on all of them separately. Yeah. So it can be done. I just think this show didn't do it super well.
Like managing that. And like
managing
I said,
5 quote-unquote main characters.
Books. Once again.
They're books,
so I'm imagining that it is managed well. It's just how they decided to translate that on camera.
Maybe it just didn't. Even with like Stephen King's It, like it centers around like 5 kids and they're looking for this thing that's taking other kids and they're like exploring and stuff on their bikes. I just love that trope so much. But like that's managed well too in the movie. I haven't read the book, but in the movie, in both versions of the movie, the newer one and the one that came out in the 90s, like it's very much like there are 5 of them or 5 or 6 of them and like they're all friends going toward the same mission, but they all have separate lives and separate home lives. The one kid's mom is really weird. The other so I think that you can do it. It's just you have to be intentional. Also, what my thing is, and this is for like any show that I didn't get it from here. They tried, but I didn't get it between the characters too. Is that like I didn't care about like any of the characters. Like, well, they tried to make you care, and for whatever reason, like I just didn't. Like this was 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm. And they were an hour long each.
Yeah. And like, so 8 hours. They have 8 hours pretty much to try to make you care about things. But like but I just didn't. Whereas like in a movie like It or whatever, when you have like the 5 friends, it's a movie. So you have 2 hours, 2.5 hours to like start caring about the characters. Right. And like, I totally do. So how is it that a movie can do that in 2.5 hours, but a show can't do that in 8 hours? So that was the other thing. I'm like, well, I don't care about any of these characters. Like, I don't care about the friends. So like, obviously, if one of them dies, it doesn't bother me. Like, right. I don't know. Like the one girl we thought was dead and she wasn't.
Which don't.
And I was just like, okay, that. I don't
care.
I mean,
that's also a good point because I think they did delve into the backstories a little bit.
Yeah, because we first see them in the.
Well, yeah, and then their past. I just think there's some characters, for example, I mean, we call him Werewolf Wife Killer.
I'm dead. I don't remember these people's names. The names also threw me off.
The guy who can turn into a werewolf-esque thing. I don't know.
We think he's werewolf, but we're not sure. They never address that again. Whatever it is,
but I'm sure you can get enough of that to guess what character we're talking about. But we really didn't get any of his backstory, and he's one of the
we knew he was married
main 5, and he ends up killing his wife in like the first episode. So that's basically all you know about him, and then his whole character arc is that he's sad about killing his wife
because he did it on accident.
Possibly interested in another one of the 5, another girl who we call Linguini.
Her name is something that sounds like linguine. Okay.
Linguine. It's really hard to say.
Like I know it's really hard to say.
Rand is the redhead.
Okay, so name all 5 of them.
That's what I'm saying. Linguini. Redhead.
No. I mean, their real names.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I don't know the wisdom's name.
Okay. Start from the beginning. Start with the redhead guy.
But I'm missing one of the funny. Oh, Aladdin, dude.
That's Matt. He had the plainest name. I remembered that one because I was like M-A-T. It wasn't even M-A-T-T. The subtitle said M-A-T.
And I thought he was going to be like my fave character. And
I did too.
Which quickly turned back on itself. Like I said, we really enjoyed, and mind you, we didn't really want to watch the series, but the first 3 episodes were quite enjoyable.
I really liked the characters. Like I was like, okay, like I think this one's going to be my favorite. Like I really was like, okay, I'm into this. And then something happened between like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th episode that I just all of a sudden just like completely like fell out. I was just, something, I don't care.
It was like one element too many. Because you feel like, and here's the thing, there's slightly cool elements. Oh, we also have to talk about
what
the color teams. And then,
yes, I'm still confused about
the
that.
Jesus-esque character, but
the false prophets.
False prophet. I don't know.
False dragon
hilarious.
He's hilarious. We love our false prophets.
He's not a good character. The villain, I think.
I don't know, because then they locked him up and like you never saw him again. Unless he comes back in season 2.
Which again, he plays kind of a pivotal. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't always have to make sense to me.
But he wasn't really evil.
In general. Well, that's what you say. But I don't know. He almost killed your favorite. He almost killed Chang.
Oh yeah.
What's his actual name?
I don't know. But the
the
main characters. Well, that's the other thing. She main character.
Moraine's blue teams.
She's blue team. She's team blue. Her like
guardian,
weird
butler,
symbiotic relationship thing. I called him Shang because he reminded me of. He was like dressed like Shang from Mulan, and he had the same hairstyle as Shang from Mulan. So I was like, his name is Shang. And once I got that in my head, I don't remember his name, but he had like the bun in the back that was pulled really high. It was literally like Shang. He had a sword like it was just it was Mulan. So that's what we called him, but I don't remember his name. But he was like he was my favorite. Okay, I take that back. He was my favorite character. I thought he was really cool.
I would say. I think, and the thing is that you see him in different situations. Like first, not that he comes off as flat, but like super brooding, and he's a
lot of layers,
like a side character. He has a lot of layers,
like Shrek. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers.
But like his only function is to protect Moraine, who is, I would also say, a main character.
She sucks.
Okay. But then throughout the story, you see him kind of mourn one of his closest friends' deaths.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
confused. That. Yeah, that was kind of weird. A little bit.
It was like a detour for a second.
It was a whole moment. I think it was around then that we were kind of confused.
Because we thought that was like his lover.
I don't know.
Like we thought that was the guy that died. We were like, oh my God, they're going to get
I don't think that was it at all. Really close. I don't know. He just ends up crying in this kind of weird ceremony. But regardless, you see another side of him, and he can do really cool fight moves and talk with different characters and have different relationships with them. So he was a really versatile character.
I would say he had the most dimension.
He has the most dimension.
And he's like a side character. And like main characters are pretty two-sided. They argue about one thing, then they flip back to the other side and say, "But I can see what you're saying." Then they flip. Like there was not
their main
much
couple, and that's what I was so pissed off because at the end in the last episode, okay, spoilers, but you should have been known that. He's fighting the Dark One, which Gabby thinks he looks.
They made okay. First of all, let me preface this.
But he's much younger, so
no. Okay, let me preface this. But they dressed him in like a suit, dude. Like
it was the most modern looking.
It was so modern. This is like a fantasy world, so there's no like time or like it's not in our universe or whatever. But like this man was literally in a suit, and he had this like dark beard with like patches of gray in the middle, and his hair was coiffed. This man looked like Saddam Hussein. The very one.
So that was the Dark One.
And I was like, this is weird.
And when Rand is fighting this, because he apparently, I still have my doubts, but he is the chosen, like, Dragon Reborn, like, main character.
Well, I guess because he defeated Saddam.
But did he? Because then that other dealership guy was talking to Wife Killer at the end and saying, like, we actually led you here.
The guy from the very beginning?
And we need all 5 of you. And this was just the beginning.
They thought it was the last battle, but it was really the first one. That's because they were renewed for another season. They were like, dang it, we got to make this.
Do it again. Do it again.
Well, it is based off books, though, so I'm sure.
Yeah, so there probably is. I don't know how they organized it. But when Rand is like in this simulation that the Dark One's making with this perfect world, which means that he's with Linguini, there's a baby girl. She's in love with him. And the what do you call that? The conflict the whole time in the series is that Linguini wants to go be a
whatever.
She
wants to go work and be a freaky
the
whatever.
Woman power.
Which means she can't get married.
Which means she can't get married, but that's her like ambition. And so in order to kind of like zap himself out of this simulation, he's kind of like, that's not really the woman I love because the woman I love wants to be this, not marry me.
I'm so dead. He's like, she would never marry me.
But
this
so
is fake.
I'm like, I know that should be like such a like moving moment, but I feel like it felt really flat just because like even for a main character, I liked him, but it's still like they just argued about the same things. There was no growth. Yeah. Like, did anybody have an arc? Even Shan, did he have an arc?
I don't know.
We didn't go anywhere from
like kind of like
one to.
It just seemed kind of like just like if you look at the first episode and then you look at the last episode, like if you watch them back to back and just skipped all the in between, you might see some growth, but not much.
Or I'm like Aladdin. I thought he was going to be like getting in trouble and picking up things he shouldn't.
Well, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he got.
And then he proceeds to be depressed for like.
He was possessed by a demon first,
and then after he got undepressed, he decided to leave everyone behind. That was also really one of my favorite moments.
That was a good moment. Just because it cracked me up. I don't think that's what it was supposed to do, but it made me laugh. So.
And Gabby's favorite character, which again I can't remember his name, but he's like an ogre.
Oh my god! Like, I hate.
Why would you add an additional character that I don't know what his function was?
He literally served no purpose. He was just there, and then he was stabbed, and I was like, okay, thank you. He was a good guy. I'm sorry, but like I just hate. He was like, I don't know what he was supposed to be, some creature, but he would like hang around with them and like hang out with them, and I was like, oh my god, you were not their friends. Stop it.
And these teams, like I said, it's just like, so you have the 5 friends, and like they get broken off and like separated, and they break off into like 2s.
I forgot, dude. This has felt like the longest show.
Towards the beginning, that's what happens. They get separated, and like 2 of them end up with like hippies.
Yeah. Oh, that was what's the face? The lady from Tutors.
From Tutors. Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
Mary. But yeah, she's the hippie queen. And then they see what we call the white team, which are like these super clean freak bullies.
But then they like mutilate people. It's really strange.
Mutilate people. But 2 of the friends end up dealing with that, and the other 2 go to like this other land where they meet a bard that kind of helps them in their journey.
Dude, I forgot about all of this. Like several times.
Like Rand almost gets killed by a chick that I think he was interested in, but she ends up being like, I don't know, a bad person.
Well, because she was trying to, I think she was trying to like kill off the people who she maybe thought was the dragon, because she was like on the dark side or something, and she didn't want them to defeat him. I don't know, some weird.
Like I said, it was so exciting. Like
the first 3 episodes
had movement. Like you had they're trying to flee from the original city because the main like A-level enemy is called the Trolloc.
Trolloc. Like, I hate that word.
I don't know, animal-esque thing.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a minotaur, kind of.
Yes, that's the closest thing. I was trying to look for the name, but a minotaur. Imagine like an army of minotaurs. I can't say that word.
Close enough.
And they get what we call Voldemort is chasing them through the forest.
Because we don't know anyone's name. Right, so we just assign, this guy looks like Voldemort to me. But anyway.
Really ugly.
Really ugly.
Remember, like, I was actually on the edge of my seat when they were trying to get across the water, and they lied to the guy that they're going to come back for his son.
Yeah, that was a good scene. Like, literally so good. Like, I think the first... You know when it got boring for me?
Was it the 4th episode?
I don't remember what episode it was, but when they came back together.
That was like...
That's when it got boring.
And then they got back together again. It's just like, I don't know.
When all 5 of them like met back up with each other after their like separate journeys. Like 2 episodes, was that yesterday?
Yeah.
Dang. So before that, okay. So I don't remember when it got boring, but really that's when it. Yeah, that's for me when it all like them together is just. I think it's just too. It's too much flatness in one place. Them divided up was like, okay, I can deal with this.
Well, because they had more conflict. That wasn't just the same thing.
Yeah.
Location. I don't know.
It was fine.
Like, and then again, the women in power are like in color teams.
The color teams. There's there's like red,
green,
blue.
And I think there's some other ones because in the intro that we skipped every time, it seemed to have more colors. But I also don't understand how that society works. But they have powers
based off the color, because it's like the way of the leaf is the green people.
No.
Yeah, the way of the leaf.
Isn't that the hippies?
That's the hippies. Yeah, okay, so the way.
So the way the leaf is for hippies, but
they're not a color.
Like blue, I think are the what do you call when you send somebody out to get information?
A stalker.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, but like somebody who you place.
An informant.
Like an informant. I think that was the function they had.
Stalker.
And red would be because they. Red would be in charge of whatever region they're part of. Like green was for the forest, yada yada yada. I stand by green. I don't get that society a whole lot, but
I don't get that society
more in season 2. And I think.
What do you think?
We said a lot of bad things. If they just returned to the first 3 episode vibe for season 2, we would watch it. We would watch another season.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was fine. Like it was
worse, but
there's definitely worse. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine. The rating on Amazon was 3.5 stars.
I think it went down by the time we finished watching.
I'd give it like 2.5 stars. That's not whatever. I don't know what like percentage that would be, but I would give it, like, it's at 3.5 right now. I'd give it 2.5, which is, wait, what's half?
I don't know. I just like, considering that I really enjoyed the first 3.
That's like a 50%.
The 2 in the middle were like, and then the last like almost 4, I was really disinterested.
I don't even remember what
happened. So it's kind of like,
I
feel like there's more negative than positive.
But maybe because it ended on a note that was like, I mean, here's the thing. It ended, like, I know they're trying to end on a cliffhanger to make you want to watch the next season, but I'm just like, but I don't care.
Like, I mean, but we said that about the season finale for Witcher 2 also.
Yeah, but we just watched. The only reason why we watched the second season is because Henry. But we actually enjoyed it.
No, I watched the second season for you.
So you would have watched it without me. By yourself, you would have watched it.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Especially for that first episode, dude. I don't know if we talked about the second season of The Witcher, but it's way easier to follow because there's not 3 timelines apparently going on.
We didn't realize there was 3 timelines in the first season.
It was actually like action-packed.
It was really good.
It was actually really good.
And we could actually follow.
You should watch.
Check that out.
Apparently they have like new characters coming into season 3,
they
so
have
they don't butcher it.
4 new characters.
Hopefully they don't butcher it, but
because they just announced the casting for those, and I don't know any of these people.
And we would have talked about Stranger Things, but it's not out yet.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. They released the final trailer for Stranger Things a few days ago, and I'm like,
are you living?
Literally, I've watched the trailer so much because it's so good. And I see some new characters, some new faces in there, and I'm already like, I'm going to be obsessed with this guy I already know, and like this chick. So yeah, and plus you got your oldies but goodies,
Of course.
I am like, yeah, just so excited.
You're ready.
I'm so ready. Like
we will have a conversation about it. It's not out yet, so
May
couldn't be included.
Something. I think it's Memorial Day weekend is when it comes out, or maybe the weekend before.
So she's gonna be gone from the world for like 24 to 48 hours.
I think it comes out on like that Friday, and so I'm literally gonna be like, someone tweeted the other day. They were like, Stranger Things comes out on like this day at 12:01, and someone's gonna finish this whole series by 12:03 a.m. And I was like, that's gonna be me. Like I'm literally gonna be tweeting about it at like 12:30. Like finished all 17 billion episodes. But apparently each episode is over like an hour. Some of not each one, but some of them are. That's why they divided it into 2 parts, because the writers were like, we can't cut anymore, so we're just going to divide it into 2 parts. So some like the first half of season 4 comes out in May, and the second half comes out in July.
Annoying, but it's okay. We'll deal with it.
But it's sometimes like you're getting 2 seasons though.
It is
because they're that long.
Sometimes when they do that, the gaps between the first and second part are so long, and I'm like, do you want people to stop caring? So
I'm so excited.
It's only 2 months. Not too bad.
I bet it's going to be like #1 on Netflix for like the longest. Yeah. That's gonna be like the summer show to watch.
And that's sci-fi. Yeah. And neither of us really don't be watching sci-fi. So you can do it. It is possible.
Really, I can deal with sci-fi. It's fantasy for me. Difficult. That is sometimes difficult for me to get through. Yeah, unless it's Henry. Okay. That literally is the only reason why I start. But actually, like, I did enjoy the second season.
The second season was fun.
It was really good. But yeah, fantasy is not, even with books, like I've been trying to like push myself to read fantasy more. And I finished a fantasy book like a few months ago, and it was actually really good. And I was like, I found another author I really like.
I'm surprised.
That I would not have picked up myself, but I was doing like a Reddit book exchange a few years ago, and I told the guy like that I got matched with, like, send me your favorite fantasy series if you're into fantasy. And if not fantasy, then like sci-fi or something that you're into. And he was like, okay. And he sent me like 4 fantasy books. And I was like, okay. Just to like try to force myself to read
a different genre. It's okay.
Yeah, because I just not super into fantasy. But everything I've watched and read so far, except for Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time was fine.
2.5. I would give it. I honestly would give it like 2.
2. Okay, so I was given 2.5. That's 50%.
Nice.
I was being nice because the first 3 episodes were
the first 3. Then you have another 5. So I feel like it's not weight, but
there was moments in each one.
And like I said, even though we're giving this crappy review, if they release another season, I would try, not the whole thing, but I would maybe try an episode or 2 and see what they're doing.
And then you would quit maybe halfway through and be like, yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
You could always look up sometimes shows I get really into, and then I'm like, I'm not. Then I look up a summary to see what happens.
Cheetah.
Well, yeah, because I sometimes still want to know what happens, but I don't want to watch it or read it. So if I'm in the middle of a book and I'm like, man, I just can't finish this book, I'll just look up the summary.
That's valid.
And be like, okay, that's what happened.
That's funny.
Yep. Because sometimes I still wonder. I don't care, but I'm just like, I wonder how this book ends, if it gets any better.
Usually I just quit and give up. But again, if you want to watch Wheel of Time, and you liked it, I mean, let us know. Maybe you've read the books and you understand why it's such a great series. I just feel like Prime kind of fumbled the bag. But
yeah, I don't know how many books there are.
I have no idea, but it's probably a lot.
They're probably
It's
so
fantasy.
chunky.
Yeah.
Every fantasy book
Fantasy
is like
is
so large.
So much. Yeah. But that was a series. And when we did it, I thought Gabby was going to quit halfway.
There was a period there between like the 4th and 5th episode where I was like, dude, I do not want to watch this show.
But somehow she was like, but we have to finish it. And I was like, okay.
Even last night, I was like, I'm going to sit here and watch this show. We watched 2 episodes. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I went and got my drink and I sat down and
you watched
and
it.
I watched it. I didn't watch anything else on TV.
You were like, this is it.
I like Cinderella. I definitely was watching Harry Potter.
I know you were.
But this one I watched because I was really trying. But
and even with all that, still no.
Yeah.
Like so we tried more with Witcher and still enjoyed Witcher more. So
yeah.
But that's okay. It happens sometimes. You can consume some bad TV so that way when you watch good TV, you're like, oh, so good.
Well, it's good to know what you don't like.
That also.
You know, that's what I was like talking like in college. Be like, you know, you read the bad stuff, you read the good stuff, so you know what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. That's what you do.
That's smart.
You consume everything so you can weed out what doesn't work, and you know it doesn't work because someone already tried it and it was crappy.
You're like, I don't like it.
Or just here's the other thing: it's maybe someone out there is the biggest Wheel of Time fan in the world,
which is true,
and it works for them. It doesn't work for me, but it works for them, so good for them. And the shows and movies I like probably don't work for them, but they work for me. So.
And we can respect each other. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's okay.
You like that show? Like it.
Go ahead.
You like those books? Read them.
Linguini.
I liked Linguini. She was all right. Nah, I didn't really. She was really annoying.
So annoying.
Yeah, she was annoying.
But that was a series. That was a series. Then we watched a movie.
Yeah.
Spencer.
Which you watched last night.
Yeah.
I watched.
Quite a ways ago.
Oh, a while ago. Back in.
Well, because you know me, I be loving all things royalty. And I absolutely love the director's decision to include a little sprinkle, a touch, a little of Anne Boleyn.
I knew you would like that.
I'm just like, between that and the music that was reminding me of college, it was such an experience. I'm just so glad we ended, although again, we know Diana dies later, but the movie ended on a lighter note. Which
they went through the drive-through.
Heavy.
It was heavy. I knew it was rated R, but I didn't know. I mean, movies can be rated R for a lot of different reasons, but it was definitely. I liked it because, and also Kristen Stewart as Diana was like,
which
so good.
Really surprised me.
She's good. She's very good.
She did excellently.
She's fantastic, and like she was the only person nominated for an Oscar from this movie. They were not nominated. I think they were not nominated for anything else, not costume, not nothing. But she was nominated for Best Actress. Obviously, she lost, but yeah, she was. Like,
and her
excellent.
husband, the one who played her husband, I've seen in another series. And
Have you?
And he played a crappy husband.
Did he? Maybe that's
so I was
his,
like, that's his thing. And I'm
so
like, wow,
did,
so annoying. Like his face annoys me so much.
He was a good Charles. He was a good Charles. It was interesting. I liked this movie because it was narrative driven. It was very character and like it was Diana's story. It wasn't her in the middle of a plot. It was like she was the plot. Mm-hmm. And I like that because I really like character. Character's like my favorite. That's what I was kind of saying. Like, if I don't connect to the characters, I don't care. If I connect to the characters, they could be running around doing anything. I'm into it. But the character makes like the story for me. And like I just really love characters. And so this movie was just so character driven. Like everything fell behind her. Like she was the lead and everything else fell in line. It wasn't the plot. I feel like almost the plot of Wheel of Time was so not overbearing. But there's just so much happening, and the characters weren't strong enough to like hold up their own. So I was just like, So if I'm not into the characters, I'm not into that. But Kristen Stewart, I think, did such a great job of being like a super strong lead, which is hard when you have a character like Diana who's not strong, but having a mental breakdown for the whole film. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you be a strong lead when the character you're playing is in a very vulnerable and almost weak moment? And because the movie only takes place over
3 days,
like 2 or 3 days, over Christmas.
It was Christmas Eve, Christmas Day,
and then when they left
on
But yeah, I really enjoyed her performance. I just really liked watching her be Diana. I thought I enjoyed it.
It was
just for that.
No, I would agree. And if I were to describe the whole film like from the get-go, I'm like, okay, maybe this would be. Like, we'll ease into it. No, immediately, dude. Yeah. Like, it's just unsettling. Mm-hmm. It's heavy. I think the music was almost crucial.
I loved the music.
I think it followed... It was 2 things. I think the music helped so much in making the listener feel unsure and
uneasy,
uncomfortable. And also I feel like the way they shot it, it was a lot of the times very zoomed in. And very much from her perspective, like I think how she would view the world. Of course, again, mentally, she might be a little unstable too, so she has like hallucinations. But the way it was filmed,
you're not sure,
kind of helped the listener be in that place. Yeah, it's not like you were watching her outside of the film.
It was almost like the music was her inner monologue. Like she's because like and she's super. The film, and if you noticed, I'm trying to think back because I watched it a few months ago, but like the film, you only see other people. Like every once in a while, it's mostly her, her sons. You see your sons often enough, and then you see like Charles. I think in just one scene.
Yeah, when they have the conversation.
The conversation over the pool table, and then
that one time
they're at dinner. Yeah, but you barely see anybody else's face.
Comment. Yeah,
but there's no other characters that are really. They don't do much. I mean, that's probably why no one was nominated. And I'm sure no one expected to be nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting, like...
Because you really didn't...
They didn't do anything. Yeah. Because I feel like that's what I'm saying. It's so focused on Diana that, like, she has conversations with these people. She has the conversation with Charles. She sees her sons or whatever. But, like, they don't... They're there to support whatever crisis that she's going through. They're just contributing to, like, furthering the plot of her being stuck in this establishment. Charles makes her feel... horrible all the time. Well, that furthers her delusions or whatever. Like they're not there.
And all the staff is there to just report on what's the latest crazy thing
she talks to the cook more than she talks to her husband. So it's just kind of, and she has one conversation with the queen. I don't think you ever see the queen's face, if I remember, because she walks outside. Diana kind of follows her. They have this conversation on the steps.
Yes.
And then the queen leaves.
Yep.
So I don't even know if you ever see the actress's face. I don't remember. But it's not important, I think is the point. It's like, because we're also coming into it, Diana's been in this establishment for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So we're coming into it in the middle and at the end of things already been happening. So it's like, it's almost like you're watching it. It's like, it's too late. Like it doesn't matter what the queen has to say to Diana to encourage her. It doesn't matter what Charles is saying.
Right.
Diana already knows Charles and Camilla are screwing around. So like, it's just stuff that like, oh, you see Camilla's face at the church.
You do.
When she came on the screen, I was like, I hate you, Camilla. But yeah, so it's just interesting the way it was shot. It's definitely a movie I would watch again just to notice different things.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I love how just the director's vision, and you can tell, it's still a fictional,
it's like what he thinks could have happened at Diana's last Christmas.
Yeah, those 3 days. Yeah. And it's just every little thing, like, it's so much to unpack. Like I liked her relationship with her sons and how it was very different to anybody else. That conversation she had with Charles at the pool table, I feel like she acted brilliantly.
Yeah, it was really good.
And she did amazingly. Like it's one of those things that you have to watch because it's very based on her performance.
Yeah.
And you can describe it as excellent. And there's, certain scenes like when she goes back to her childhood house that was very impactful because it's like the most that you see of her past. And I really liked that because it's when, of course, she destroys the pearl necklace and she's going back to different stages of her life. And eventually that's why she puts Spencer's, like the coat, and she replaces it with another thing, like the yellow outfit. But yeah.
Yeah. I just think the film definitely solely rested on like how good Kristen Stewart would be in the role. So it's definitely a good thing she would. Like if the actress who played Diana wasn't any good as Diana or not believable, then the whole film would have fallen apart. Like it's just not, it's not good. It's not interesting to watch. But literally, it's also hard to remember because like you're watching it and you're like, this was a real person. Like whether these things happened, like the director, this is the director's
and there were quite a
thoughts
few,
of what could have happened. But like the fact that you're like, you have to stop. Like I had to stop every few seconds and be like, wait, this is based off a real person. Like Diana's bulimia was real, and her issues with whether it be diet culture or just eating and food, her mental health was real. Like this is her self-harm was real, which was like a hard scene to watch when she pretty much rips skin off with the pliers. But like it's stuff that you're like. You have to like remind me like this is literally like a real person. This was a real person who suffered so much in this institution, and for a husband who just didn't respect her at all, and was like horrible, and so it's just stuff that like you're like watching it and you're like, yeah, whatever, and then you're like, wait, this is like somebody who really was like hurting a lot in this institution, and it's a movie about her. And maybe things didn't happen exactly this way, but I'm sure they're not far from the truth, because we do know that she struggled with certain things.
Yeah, and the most like traumatic elements that the film portrays were real.
Yeah.
Everything surrounding that, like what if it's a certain hallucination or a certain conversation. I mean, yeah, that's fictional.
Like we don't know how those conversations went, but I imagine they also, just as they weren't pleasant to listen to in the movie, they probably weren't pleasant in real life either. But yeah, it was really, really good. And it made you feel so sorry for Diana as well and her.
And just an excellent film.
It was
like,
really
it's not
good,
fantasy. It was just like, it was well directed considering it's based on a real person.
It was not what I expected, but I liked it a lot. Like I did not expect it to be like that. But
I don't think the trailer kind of.
No, I don't think in the trailer it had really any type of like hallucination or delusion or anything that they maybe they decided not to do in the trailer, because they're like, if we have a film about Diana, people will go see it anyway. But if we put in that, I don't know, there's an element of hallucination and delusion and some type of fantasy element where she's imagining herself as Anne Boleyn and stuff, then maybe people will be a little bit more hesitant to go see it. But yeah, it was very good. I really enjoyed it. It was really sad to watch.
It was really sad. It was heavy. Like I said, thankfully it ends on, on Boxing Day. The boys have gone hunting for the pheasants, and she comes out of the forest, and she's just like, I'm not going to move from here until my sons join me. And Charles is like, yeah, okay, boys, go.
Awkward.
Her. And they escape, and it was just so much. It just feels so light.
Yeah, they go through the drive-through in her car to get like
and listen
whatever.
to music.
Yeah, and it's like really nice. It must be really weird.
Yeah,
for her sons to be, I'm sure they didn't see it, but to just be like, there's a movie out there about my mom, and like these two actors are portraying us as kids, and like, I don't know, if I was William and Harry, I'd be like, this is very strange. But I mean, it also goes to show like this was not long ago. I mean, it was in the 90s, 94, 93, and like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Not at all.
But it's just like really, I'm like, this must be really weird for them to even know that there is a movie out there. Like I said, I doubt they saw it, but just there's a movie about your mom, and Kristen Stewart, who played Bella in Twilight, is portraying her. That must be very strange. I don't know.
No, you're quite right.
I wonder if they saw any like trailer and thought like, wow, she's doing a really good job of like looking like my mom and portraying my mom. Like, I don't know.
That'd be good to know. Whoever knew her like in real life.
That'd be so weird.
That's a good impersonation
like
of her.
that. Yep, that was Diana. Like, I don't know. But I mean, even just watching interviews with Diana that I've watched, or even footage of her or whatever, that you just see, I mean, the mannerisms and she did a really good job. But anyway.
Excellent.
Yep.
Those are the ones we watched together.
Yep.
Did you want to go first for the ones we've watched solo?
Alone?
I don't remember which ones you mentioned.
Yeah, because you weren't listening.
I watched like two others. I probably watched more, but there's two that I'll mention.
Well, what are the two? You mentioned the two.
Well, I watched the second season of Bridgerton. Everybody's so
Bridgerton.
upset. And actually, when I thought about it more, I was like, oh, you're right. It's kind of similar to, I don't know how the BBC Pride and Prejudice was.
I haven't seen it.
But when I think about how much more interpersonal dialogue heavy it was in the second season, I'm like, oh, I think that's what they meant. And I don't know why everybody be hating on it. If you're going to watch trash TV, know that you're watching trash TV and enjoy it. For me, it was less trashy. But okay, maybe people want that. And we talked about this. I think they want the trash. But I don't know. Like, I will always watch any and every period drama. You already know this. And as long as you accept that that is what you're choosing to watch, and it's not like a realistic version of it, then, I don't know, pucker up, buttercup. Like, I don't...
I think people
it was quite the entertainment for me.
I think also like the first season came out during like the height of quarantine, and people had like nothing else to do. So now that they have other things to do, they're like, why am I watching this?
It seems very divisive though. It's either like I completely hate it, it's nothing like season one, or like it was so much better. There's like no middle ground.
I feel like the people,
and I'm just confused. I'm like it's a period drama. I don't know what.
Well, that's the problem. I feel like the people who don't usually watch period dramas probably liked the first season. The people who really like period dramas and everything that comes with them probably prefer the second.
Oh, that's true. Okay, there you go. So she just broke the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe that's
true.
the.
Which is true. Like again, I think I enjoyed the second season more than the first
because I watched period dramas. Yeah.
The first season, I'm like,
it
was entertaining, but like there was no substance. Like
it's like La La Land. La La Land was a movie musical for people who don't like musicals. I didn't really enjoy La La Land. I love musicals, but I like musicals, like the pure musical.
Right.
But I think
not
La La Land
for the main.
Yeah, La La Land was for the masses. If you've never seen a musical in your life and you don't like musicals, you will like La La Land. I think so it's almost kind of like reminds me of that.
So I'm curious what they'll pick for season 3 if they have one, but you should give it a shot, I think.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, everybody. And I also, I didn't prepare my accent. But
you should try anyway.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to embarrass myself. But the making of Anna Delvey.
I know Candace watched that.
Did she?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I had no idea what this was about. And for I think it was another 8 episodes, I was really into it. That's all I have to say.
That's all you have to say. Do your accent.
No, I'm not.
There was one day where she literally was talking in this accent for like a solid 10 minutes.
I should have prepared it when I knew I was going to bring it up because I haven't watched a whole lot of TV, but that was something I watched with my family, and it was so. I don't know. Like again, I don't typically watch a whole lot of TV, so I was like so disinterested. Oh, and I also watched Hannah, but that's old.
Yeah.
But for this one, it's like again just the last thing I was expecting, and I found it amusing how like entertained I was.
Well, some stuff. I mean, I guess that's how you know
it's a real story again.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, wow, like. And the actress did a really good, and she's part of Ozark Trail, the main actress who does Anna Delvey on this one.
Oh.
And then she did excellently, because then I saw her in real life, and I was like, whoa, she sounds like her. It's weird, because she's German and Russian. And like, that people could be fooled the way that she did, and just like the extravagance. And I guess they had to do less work to build these characters, because they existed in real life. But it was enjoyable. And I think they did it well, and even though I didn't want to watch it in the beginning. And I didn't want to watch it especially because her accent was really annoying. But then, number one, I realized that was actually her accent in real life. And then secondly, I was like, but regardless, it's kind of entertaining.
Whose idea was it to watch, your mom or your brother?
I actually can't remember. It might have been mine, to be honest. I don't remember.
You were like, let's try this. I hate it.
Really?
Actually, I like it.
I ended the first episode, I'm like, I hate this so much. On to the second episode. But yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I haven't watched. Is it a limited series, or are they doing a season 2?
No, it's a limited series.
Oh, okay.
Because again, she ends up in jail.
She go to jail. Yeah,
she goes
so
to
it kind of
jail,
story kind
and
of ends
then
there.
she's but then she gets out actually recently.
Oh, okay.
And she makes money off this Netflix.
Oh, I'm
series.
sure. Yeah.
And but I think they deported her back to Russia.
Oh.
And she was back in court to try to say, I don't want to get deported back in Russia.
No.
Anyway,
you're going back. Well, then I guess it's kind of one of those things where it's like they could keep going, but why keep going when she's not even here? But she does get money from it. So I guess, I mean, if I was getting money from it, I'd be like, you know what? I don't care. You can deport me back to wherever as long as I get my millions. Because especially...
But the thing is, the whole premises of the series is that, you know, she's pretending to be German even though she's Russian. And she doesn't want to be in Europe. Her goal was to have this Anna Delvey Foundation. And she's really smart, actually. And that was her goal, to be able to do that. And I feel like even when she got out of prison now, she's like, yeah, I mean, it's their fault for being fooled. I didn't do anything wrong.
She's like maybe they shouldn't be so stupid.
That's how she sounds like in interviews. And she's just hilarious. Like, it's not my fault. And she wanted to get out of Russia. That's a great defense. Maybe you shouldn't be so dumb and you wouldn't be tricked. She's like, it's not my fault. They're the ones who decided to give me the money. Well, you were fooled, not me. She's just like, I was being my own person, doing my own thing. And the thing is, she's a villain. We shouldn't like her.
But you do.
But she cracked me up a little bit. I probably would hate her in real life, but at least
probably.
It's just interesting. Yeah. People be dumb. So
I watched
those 2 trash TV series, so you can not feel bad about watching.
But it wasn't real like reality trash TV.
Oh, true. I wouldn't watch that, but
yeah, I'm not into reality TV that much. But
I think that was
okay.
All that I watched.
Cool.
So now you can now I will listen to the ones that you did watch.
I feel like I watched more movies this time around than actual TV shows. I watched a lot of TV shows, but I'm not going to talk about all of them. But
what's the one that you finished like just the other day?
Oh, Abbott Elementary,
yeah,
the season finale. Yes, they were renewed for season 2, and I'm like so excited. But Abbott Elementary was literally, if you have not watched it, it is like the most feel good funny show ever. Like, it's so funny. I think it has the same either director or producer of The Office. So it's kind of the same style, like docu-series kind of thing, where they talk to the cameras and stuff. So if you like The Office, you'll like this show. But and I love The Office, so there you go. But I loved this show. Like, the first episode, I was like, okay, the only reason why I watched the first episode is because I knew Quinta Brunson from BuzzFeed, and she worked at BuzzFeed like back when I was in like high school, I think. And I thought she was so funny. And then she left BuzzFeed, and I didn't know what she was doing. And I was like, oh man, like Quinta. And then I saw her on the show, and I was like, oh my God, because she created the show, and she's the main character of the show. And so I was like, that's so cool. So I watched the first episode, and I was like, wait, the show's like really, really funny. And then like the next episode or whatever. And I think it was 8 or 9. I actually don't remember how many episodes there were in this season. But I'm hoping next season, for season 2, there's like 20 episodes. Like, because every week that was like the highlight of my week, because it airs on Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday it'd be on Hulu, and so I would watch it on Wednesdays. But yeah, it's just like about a bunch of teachers, elementary school teachers at Abbott Elementary in Philadelphia, and it was just so funny, and just like all the things they try to do and like connect to their students and teach, but also balance.
It seems like your type of show.
Like, it's so cute. It's so funny. But and it was also like really, it was one of those shows that like it's equal parts funny, but also really touching, and like you're just like rooting for all the characters, and all the characters are so, they have their own like unique personalities.
There's no villain.
There's no villain.
Wow.
There's no, well, I don't know. This is only season 1. Wow. But it was just, it's so good. And like every episode, it's like, you know, a certain conflict that they're trying to solve, but it's just really cute. And so I'm really glad that Quinta is getting her props, because I think it's rated like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like the first sitcom in like ever to have 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's not based off of like 2 reviews that are 5 stars. It's like thousands of reviews. So I hope they win a lot of Emmys this year. Well, this fall or whenever the Emmys happen. But I'm hoping they do.
The second season comes out real fast.
Yeah, but
So
that was the
one.
that was the
I
other
don't know
show.
anything else you've been watching.
Yeah,
so.
well, that was the other show that I actually wanted to. I've been watching a lot of different shows, but that was the show that I was like, I have to talk about Abbott Elementary. But then at movies, I tried to work my way through like the Oscars movies, but I have not finished that. But Spencer was one, and then Nightmare Alley I watched. It was fine. I don't think it won anything at the Oscars. It was nominated, but I don't think it won any of their categories. But it was fine. Bradley Cooper, he was good. He was nominated. Well, but it was like just about carnies and stuff, and I'm just not into carnies that much. So, but it was
the subject matter, the content of the movie wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't all about carnies, but it starts with it. And actually, this is based off a book. They already made into a movie several decades ago, I'm pretty sure, and then they remade it. But literally, this movie was like 2.5 hours. The last 15 minutes were the best.
Wow.
They were so suspenseful, and I was like, holy crap, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Like, so I wouldn't watch it again, but I would say,
but if it was a good
you should watch it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think the last 15 minutes are like the best. But it's definitely a drama that you're like, oh my God, I can kind of feel the time a little bit. Like, you know, kind of like that. Right. But then when you finish it, you're like, but I'm glad I watched it.
Okay.
But, you know, Bradley Cooper is a good actor in anything, so it's like, it's worth it. And then I watched King Richard.
Okay, what type of laugh was that?
Will Smith.
Oh my God.
Very good movie. He deserves his Oscar there.
The way you're like going about this whole thing, dude.
No, but like legit, it was a very good movie. I really liked that. Once again, it was another movie that I didn't expect to like, because it's like,
I love how at least I'll give you props for trying stuff that you may originally
some of these
gravitate towards, but you're like, I'll watch it though.
Some of these I just watch because I'm like, well, I really like that actor or that actress, so I'll watch it. But like King Richard was about like Richard Williams and how he pretty much got Serena and Venus to be who they are today as tennis players and the best tennis players in the world, and whether male or female. But it was really interesting to see like from his perspective how he pretty much made them who they are, and him balancing being a father and being protective over his kids and their journey and their career as children, as professional tennis players, to also balancing being their manager and stuff. It was really interesting. And Will Smith did like a fantastic job as Richard Williams, and I really enjoyed that movie like a lot. And plus, I also watched it because like Beyonce wrote the song for it.
Oh yes. Of course, you always have to.
So I was like, okay, well, Beyonce's a part of this project, and I trust Beyonce with my life, so I'm gonna watch this movie. But yeah, and then obviously Beyonce's performance at the Oscars was brilliant. But
we need a movie of that.
I watch it like once a day for my health. But yeah, those are I still need to work my way through. I want to watch The Power of the Dog, although they didn't win anything, I don't think.
It's okay, you don't have to win
at the
nothing.
Oscars. No, it's still good, but I think Benedict Cumberbatch is in The Power of the Dog. And then what was the other movie I wanted to watch that was nominated for Oscars? I don't really want to watch Dune. I said I was going to. They won, like, they sweeped, like, everything, dude. But that's on HBO, I think. But I don't really want to watch that. But they're coming out with a second one, so maybe I should. I don't know.
Aren't they also coming out with a second series of Squid Game?
I hope not, because I liked the way it ended, but I think they're in the works of doing Squid Game Season 2, which is fine.
Dude, once again.
My thing is, like, we don't have to have a second season of everything. Things can just end.
Well, but the thing is, I feel like if you have a season 1, you're bound to have a season 2. If you have a limited series, that's the only time you're going to have season 1.
Squid Game was a limited series. Yeah, it was marketed as a limited series. Really? Yeah, but now they want to add a season. And I'm like...
But they really...
But the writer, the person who wrote Squid Game is like said... I stopped here because I didn't have anything else. Like, this was what I wrote. This is it. But now I think Netflix wants to order, because it was so popular, obviously, wants to order another season. And I'm like, don't ruin it just because you want more money. But, like, because I think it ended on, like, a good cliffhanger that leaves you wanting more, but you don't need to know more.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
that's
things
when
like
you write
that.
fan fiction, dude.
That's when you write fan fiction,
and you try to come up with another story yourself, but not Netflix.
Squid
being
Game
like,
fan fiction.
I can write Squid Games too.
That's when you leave it to the fans.
Like, and I also finished Last Kingdom.
Did you?
I swear,
I almost started that the other day.
I don't think you would like it.
Well, I don't know, because I like action adventure stuff like that. We just talked about 300. That used to be one of my favorite movies.
True. We gotta watch 300. But maybe you would. The last season, I have to admit, was one of the weaker seasons.
Ooh. So it ended on kind of a weak note?
Not a weak note. Like, it ended, I was satisfied with the ending, but just how I feel like the main character's super active in all the other seasons, and he's driving the narrative, and he has a goal, and then he was kind of a passive participant in the last season as things kind of wrapped up and moved around him. So it was just like, what you got in the previous seasons, you didn't get in the last season as much. And I was like, and he cried all the time, which I get it. He cried all the time.
How many seasons are there?
It's either 4 or 5. I should know this. It's either 4 or 5.
Not many, but
and the first 2 seasons, like, you could get through quite a few episodes, and like it's engaging and stuff like that. So I did finish it, and again, it was a satisfying ending. I like the series. It was just, I think, a weaker ending season, which is fine.
Yeah, I almost started that the other day.
Story. That's really.
I always get close to start. It's on my list. I always get close to starting.
You would like it more than Tutors,
and then I I do like anything more than Tutors. And then I'm always like close to starting it when I go through my list, like, what do I have on here? And then I choose something else. I don't know why. I just like, I'm close to it, and then I choose something else.
I think you should. You should delve into that world.
Maybe
I feel like that was all my period pieces. So that's it. That's it, everybody. Yes, I'm not watching Sanditon.
I was going to say, you don't like Sanditon,
no,
so.
And I feel like there was another one, but I think that was it.
Okay.
I watched my stuff.
Well,
totally different worlds. That's why we have to intentionally choose to watch something together. Sometimes we end up doing it, but not most times.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of true crime, but I didn't even put that on here because
it's a whole other episode.
Like, it's a whole other category, because that's pretty much what I default to.
It is, crime. And Netflix knows it too.
Netflix, your HBO, TV knows it. Hulu, every 100%. Single YouTube, every platform I watch true crime on.
So for the next binge episode, whenever that is, we'll talk about Stranger Things.
I'm so excited
because that'll have to be like an episode on its own. Like, we'll break down episode to episode, because I know you might even rewatch.
I'll literally be like, okay, you guys, let's break this down. At 15 seconds, episode 1.
I'm so dead.
This happens
18 hours later.
Yeah, literally.
We're still talking about like episode 2.
I'm just so scared for it, because I want it to be perfect, and I think it will be no matter what, but I also don't want to be disappointed. But I couldn't possibly be disappointed, though. I couldn't possibly, because I know Hopper's alive, and that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
Okay. The way that you like Hopper has
I love Hopper so much.
Deceased.
So good.
Well,
that's all I got.
That's all your TV. That's all the TV
that's all you
need
to know about. But let us know.
I think we ended on a
TV
high
been
note because
watching.
we definitely, the
we
first
did.
note was not good.
What?
But yeah, let us know what you're watching.
You mean
Yeah.
get content wise? Yeah. Wheel of Time, it's whatever. It's fine. Go check it out. Check it out, maybe. Maybe skip
I hate
through.
Hate that.
Check it out. But yeah, let us know what TV you've been watching. What TV going down in your living room.
And we'll have more time during the summer, I think,
to watch TV and movies.
We have our goals
TV.
readily in place.
Yep. That's all I got.
Okay.
Follow us.
Yeah. Leave
a review.
5 stars.
Yep.
And we have 2 episodes left this season.
Wow.
Don't ask me how they're gonna go, but 2 more Thursdays you have with us screaming at you through your AirPods, your car speakers, whatever you will be listening on. And we will take a little bit of a break, but I think they'll be exciting. We've had good content, I think, this season.
I think. I don't know.
So we'll see. But only 2 weeks left. So let us know what TV you're watching, what we should be watching during the summer, because obviously that's our number one thing to do.
Just nothing else to do. All right.
We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
That was good. Hit that.